We need a national divorce. I don't like living next to liberals, socialists, and communists because of headlines like this. And the headlines read, there's nothing more else plain and simple as this right there. Walgreens closes 5 more San Francisco locations amid ongoing retail theft. You see the stories, you see the videos of people going in with bags and shopping carts and trash bags, just loading up just stolen merchandise and walking out of those Walgreens and CVS stores like nothing. As long as it's below $950, that is if even if the police are called. And sometimes the police are called. Well, guess what? The police go like, well, shit. Well, they're gone, so whatever. Well, we got videos of them. Well, whatever. Because the police know that if it's an African American, there's no cost benefit for them to go apprehend those thieves. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you put your job at risk to try to arrest an African American stealing stuff? And then you get people like, well, it's just stuff. You shouldn't put stuff over life. Well, except when people will put, rip a baby out of a womb and they'll say, well, that's just a clump of cells. It's pre-born. We don't care. If they're living, we care. Kind of, if you get the right skin color. So this is why an amicable divorce is needed. I don't want to live in a country where in California right now, luckily I don't live there anymore, but in California, they're closing stores, not because they're going out of business because of lack of business. They're going out of business because they're being ripped off every single day, and the cops don't do crap about it. And the government, the state government, the local government doesn't do crap about it. Why? Who knows? It's probably because of racism. I don't know. It's something ridiculous. So, due to organized retail crime, we have made a difficult decision to close 5 stores across San Francisco. Each store will transfer prescriptions to nearby Walgreens locations within a mile radius, and we expect to place the store's team members in other nearby locations. Again, imagine if you lived maybe a couple blocks from the store and you walked there as a worker. Now, guess what? You got to take the subway and or bus across town because they moved you. You didn't do anything. You just worked there. You're working, maybe you got to making $16 an hour. And you're working at a wall. Nope, not anymore because they closed that store. Oh well, right? It says, organized retail crime continues to be a challenge facing retailers across San Francisco, and we are not immune to that. Retail theft across our San Francisco stores has continued to decrease in the past few months to 5 times our chain average. During this time, to help combat the issue, we increased our investments in security measures in stores across the city to 46 times our chain average in effort to provide a safe environment. So, what's the underlying problem there? That's what they don't want to talk about. It's because of the lack of enforcement of said laws, of actually easing laws of you can just go out and steal. So you can, as long as you steal up to $950, they ain't gonna do crap. Matter of fact, the police will probably escort you out. This is why we need a divorce in this country. Because there's a lot of you out there right now that are like looking at this story and going, wait a minute, wait, what? And you normies out there, I'm talking to you. Is this what you want? You want to be tied to some shit like this? You agree with this? Normies out there, hello, normies. This is what you like? Oh, it's not my problem. I don't live in California. It really is your problem. Because whether you like it or not, all those people moving out of California right now aren't always moving, or I would say right side of the political spectrum, or the politically red. They're blue. These same people that voted to destroy California are moving to your area right now. And they're going to be voting the same way they did in California. You know what we call that? I guess, medically speaking, an organism that gets its host, destroys the host, then once the host is destroyed, moves to another host and does the same exact thing over and over. That's a virus. Yeah, it's a virus. Viruses do that. Unintentionally, a lot of times, a virus will infect a host, and trying to replicate itself, it kills the host. It didn't want to, but then once it replicates and moves to another host, it does the same thing again. And that's what liberals do. They'll go into a city, they'll go into a state, they'll vote stupidly, and then wonder why their taxes are like, well, I'm paying 65% of my total salary to the government. I wonder why. Because you voted for it. Well, they got good tacos here, so. And then as soon as those taco vendors and the restaurants move out because of high taxes, well, why are they leaving? Well, I guess I'll move to Texas. You move to Texas, and guess what? You keep voting the same way. This is what happens. This is case in point in San Francisco. You have a bunch of liberal, socialist commie fucks who've infected San Francisco and California to the point to where you can't live in San Francisco unless you make $150,000 a year. Minimum. Give or take a few dollars here and there. They've infected the host. Some people have beat feet out of there. They pulled pitch. They're like, we're out of here. Gone. So what are the liberals going to do? They'll stay there until they destroyed San Francisco to the point to where it cannot work anymore. And we're seeing it. It's declining constantly. Walgreens is a cash cow. No matter where you put it, it is a cash cow. I actually shop in a lot of times at a Walgreens. Why? Because they've got a lot of good stuff in there. You know, sometimes they've got deals on soda. Sometimes I've got deal on certain food items, medicines. I pick up my prescriptions every once in a while. It's fast. Well, when they have the right staffing, because they're having a hard time staffing the pharmacy department right now, where you bring in a prescription, they're like, well, we can get it till tomorrow. And you're like, tomorrow? What? Whatever the case is, CVS, Walgreens are a cash cow. When they have to close 5 stores in San Francisco, a large metropolitan area, because they're getting robbed every single day, then what gives? So the liberals see this and like, oh, we got to move. Well, we done messed up this area. Let me keep voting and move to, let's say, Dallas, the outskirts of Dallas, Texas, where it's red. Let me vote for the filthy goddamn liberals there. Why? Why do you liberals out there, and you normies, insist on fucking up California and all the major cities, major large metropolitan cities, and they're going, oh crap, we done fucked it up. Well, it wasn't my fault. I did what I could. I voted for the liberals, and they didn't do what I thought they were going to do. So I'm going to move to a different state, a red state most likely, because they've got low taxes and low crime, and I'm going to vote in the same policies that rose the crime statistics and rose the taxes at an astronomical level. Then what are you going to do? If you keep doing that, liberals and normies, guess what? There's going to be nowhere else to go. So, in my opinion, having a national divorce, it's what's needed. We need a national divorce. I don't like this. So, continuing on here, Walgreens has closed at least 10 stores since the start of 2019. That's going to be a total of 15 now. California Retailers Association reported earlier this year that San Francisco, Los Angeles, Sacramento all rank in the top 10 cities in the country for organized retail crime. That's what liberals give you right there. They give you organized crime. Because if you ignore the crimes, this is something that Giuliani is really, really successful in, stopping crime in New York City. Now it's up, through the roof. But so before he got there, they didn't really. So if someone threw a brick through a window, they just kind of went, whatever. They didn't really investigate it. But when Giuliani got there, for what I remember correctly, he made sure the police started investigating and prosecuting low-level crimes, and actually crime dropped because when you made it painful for your vandal out there, or your just low petty criminal out there, you put him in jail, they sort of stopped doing it, or they became better at their craft. Well, you got this now where they're making it easier for criminals to behave inappropriately. It's just, and while critics attribute the state's high retail theft to a referendum passed in 2014 that downgraded property theft to a misdemeanor if its value doesn't exceed $950, other states also struggle to mitigate the threat of retail crime. A father and daughter in Georgia were sentenced Tuesday after they were found to have made millions of dollars in profits from stolen merchandise in recent years. Notably, San Francisco attorney Chelsea Bowden is facing second recall effort over concerns about his reluctance to prosecuting crime. Chelsea Bowden, about his reluctance. Don't know the gender, don't care. So there you have it, folks. This is a small sample to say that, should we divorce just on something like this? Well, the whole idea of a national divorce goes a little beyond that. There's a little more nuance to it, obviously. But at the base level, I think that's what's best for us. I don't want to keep living like this. I don't want to keep living in a state or in a part of the world, part of the country, where liberals just keep voting stupidly. If you vote liberal, you're a fucking dumbass. Now, there are conservatives out there that are dumbasses. I get it. And they're rhinos. They're Republicans in name only. I get it. That is why I think also that we should probably say vote them out. Primary them. Make sure we get people in there who are actually libertarian leaning, conservatives, okay? Not the, late 80s, early 90s conservatives where they want to ban speech. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the ones that, want to be left alone, like myself. I want to be left alone. But the problem is that if you live near liberals, if you live in a liberal town, county, city, liberals don't want to leave you alone. They're always fucking with you. Liberals like to fuck with you. They like to poke at you. Just poke and poke and poke until you finally break out and push back and like, oh, how dare you being violent? No, I'm not being violent. You just kept pushing me, and you kept pushing me, and you kept pushing me. Now we live in separate rooms under the same roof. We curse at each other from across the hall. That's where we're at. So a national divorce, for using this as an example, is the best bet for our country. Because I don't want to live in a country to where we have to close stores, not because they're not doing business, it's because they're being robbed of their business. That is not the United States I want to live in. And you liberals out there, you want to live in this country that likes this sort of crap. Well, you know what? Go live in that country. Don't move to my location. Don't move to my state and bring your same voting mentality here. I don't want it, and I don't need it, and I don't want you. I hate you. Get out of my life. Stay in California, and most notably, go fuck yourself, liberals. Fuck you to hell.